Hello guys. The other day I solved a problem I have had for the longest time. In games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Hogwarts Legacy, and even The Witcher 3, I've had problems with the game crashing or not even starting when using the Upscaler with the DLSS inputs. The other day I had a revelation, and the solution to the problem was very simple. I can't quite explain it, and I don't know another solution just yet, but maybe that will come later. The game would simply just crash. I would press play in Steam, there would come a small pop-up with the Hogwarts Legacy, and it would crash, and it would go back to play, and it would just keep doing that. I tried thousands of settings and in the INI files and everything, and I couldn't get it to work. But what worked was I disabled the iGPU from my Intel 14600K, and then it stopped crashing. So there is some conflict when the game is starting, even though it has all the correct settings in Windows and all the correct settings in Upscaler and in the game, then for some reason the iGPU makes it crash during launch. And this has fixed that problem. But DLSS didn't work just because I fixed the crashing. So I had to find another solution because when I went into the game, DLSS inputs wouldn't show up in the settings. So what I did was I downloaded the Upscaler files, put all of them, the Fagan vAPI and the Newcomb's DLSS to FSR3, and of course the AMD XCFFX64 DLL. This is the one you find in the Windows System 32 folder. Put them all in the same folder, copied them in to Hogwarts Legacy. Then I went to DLSS Enabler on the GitHub page, went into releases, and then I just scrolled down and I took an old one, an old version. You can install this version. Just download, install it, and it will have Upscaler with it, but it's an old version of Upscaler. It doesn't have the same supports that it has today, but it will work. But after copying all the files into the directory, then I would go and install this one. I have it right here. You just run the file, accept, then you want the path for the directory, insert it here. You choose the DXTI, enable support for AMD and Intel GPUs. And this is of course not if you have an NVIDIA GPU. You choose the registry files and the debug files for Newcombs. I don't know if these are needed at all, but I always take them anyway. The register file is needed. Then you click next, and then it will install all the files in this folder on top of the Upscaler folder. And after that, you go and you execute the setup Windows bat that would be in here. I have already executed it in here, so it changes into the remove Upscaler, and if I use that, it will just delete all the Upscaler files. Then you go and use the disable the NVIDIA signature checks, and then the game should work. Then when you go into settings, into the video settings, display settings, I think what's it called here, display options, DLSS will show up now. Before it would only use the NVIDIA NIS, but now the DLSS is showing up here. I think we should start by showing regular FSR3 performance. And we are in Hogsmeade now. And we do have, what did I choose? I think we chose FSR3 quality. We use 30% sharpening. I usually end up on 30% sharpening. And we use the auto preset and ray tracing off. because 6000 series is not really ray tracing card material, so it would just take the FPS unnecessary. But you can see there is some shimmering with the windows and in the grades here below the windows. And if there were fences and stuff like that, there would also be shimmering with that on distance at least. Let's try and go out here and look in the grass, because this is where FSR3 usually have the biggest problem with bushes, grass and leaves of the trees that work, and also clouds. Clouds is also usually a big problem, but it doesn't seem like these clouds in this game is a problem. The grass is not 100% great. You can see like those small flickers over there by the tree. But the game does look great. Even though we don't have ray traced reflections, it still looks really, really, really good. I think this is acceptable at least. It's not perfect, and it could be better. And if you played with better, this would probably not be acceptable. But if this is your only experience, I don't think you would think too much of it. It was just how things are. Yeah. I think this is acceptable quality at least. It's some annoyances, but it's not too bad. Let's go for a stroll around town and see how it looks. Here we are watching for pop-ins, we are artifacting, we are shimmering with leaves and bushes and grass in the distance. Don't see anything. There is a small halo around the character. It's minimal, but it is there. You can see it. If you just look at the edges of the character, you can see there's like an invisible barrier around where it doesn't show it perfectly. And in the distance, I also think I see it on the wall, but if you come close, it's not noticeably. Oh, it is there, you can see it, but very minimal. This is acceptable, at least. But this is the best option you have with FSR3. Oh, crashed. Let's stop it and get back in. It happens sometimes, it's not very often. I've been screwing around with this for 3 days or something. I think this is my second crash. Usually it when I go from one upscaler to the other. I don't know why this crashed. Quickly back into it. And let's make sure we still have the right settings. FSR3. Oh. Yeah. I don't think it matters much with 1%, but. And where are we in this? Oh, we are almost back. But let's try and go to DLSS then. Let's start with Ultra Performance, because this would be what I would think a worse product than FSR3. And do we still have this? And you can see now with Ultra Performance, it's kind of a muddy picture, and the quality is not very good. Let's try a quick run through the grass, and you can see it's flickering all over the place. This is not. It's not a great experience. So I think we would not use more time on this really, because we will just now decide that this is not a quality we would want to play in. So we skip to, I think, balanced mode. We still have this, we don't. We still have ultra quality, no ray tracing on. Doesn't seem like there is a way to control the weather. It's very random. Okay, but now we run into the grass and see, how does this look? This looks somewhat similar to what we had with FSR3. There's something off with the grass, but it's not so off that we can't accept it. Performance is reasonably good, above 90 at least. How are the trees? And how is the invisible halo around the character? That is much, much better though. Let's go to the same place we did it before, wasn't it over here? Yeah. It's still there, but it's less than with FSR. Let's go look at the wall. See if we can see it here. It's there, but almost not noticeable. But I think it's a little bit better than FSR3, but not much. I would say it's about the same quality. It's also about the same performance. But we should have in mind here that we are upscaling this from much lower quality than we did with FSR quality. Can't remember exactly which resolution we're upscaling from. 1500. So 60%, where I think it was 67% in FSR3. But let's go to DLSS quality. Yeah, it's 67 here also. And straight away you can see picture quality is much better. Better colors, more smoothness. Not smooth, it's more sharp, I would think. It looks really good now. And I think this is the quality you would want as the default settings. I think this looks really good. This is also where you could, if you have a good monitor with, maybe you have 160 Hz or 180 Hz monitor, maybe you have a 250 Hz monitor or something, then you could consider using frame generation to try and cap your monitor, because it does give a lot of smoothness to the gameplay, or the visuals at least. What you can't do with frame generation is use it to save a card that can run it performance-wise, because even though it shows more frames, it won't have more actual frames. So if you turn on frame generation, if you already have 40 FPS, then you would just get even fewer performance frames, and it would get a much, much worse experience, if it makes sense. Because running the frame generation also takes a toll on the graphics card. Let's try ultra quality and see if it does a difference. I think we already noticed that picture quality is a little bit better, a little more sharp, but It also costs a little bit more in performance. Not a lot, but every little bit counts, right?
The Ministry's good work.
But it does look good. Very sharp. Much better than FSR3. But we didn't go into the grass with quality mode. Let's finish this run, go into the grass, and then go back to the quality mode and go out in the grass area to see how it looks. There is still a small halo around the guy. I don't think we can get rid of that.
I wish I was a mech.
Sorry, so let's go into the grassy area. And see here, it looks really, really good. No shimmering at all. Much better. Much, much, much better. But it also a little lower FPS, like 5 to 10 at least, I think. I think we had a little higher before. Where we dipped down to maybe 80 something, we're dipping down to 70 something. Don't know why we had that 6 FPS it shows up there, but how are feathers looking on these? Can we even see them? Oh, I really hate there's no first person mode. But this looks really good. I think this Upscaler is what saves the 6000 series. If you want good quality, you can just go ahead and install this, and then you would have great quality.
The young today aren't willing to.
Okay, but let's go back and look at the DLSS quality and go into the grass area and see if there's a noticeable difference from the FSR3 or the Ultra quality. It's not as good, but it's better than FSR3. And we have at least a few extra frames, right? I think we had 90 something here, right? So I think sacrificing that little bit of quality for those extra frames is worth it here. I think this looks really good. This is really good. Really, really good. Yeah. This is where I would play the game at least. We could try and turn on frame generation. To do that, we need to go in. Where did it go? On. But why can't I use this? Do I have this? Frame generation on. Save to any. And we have to restart the game. Exit. Wait for it to stop. Then start it again. What we did there was we activated the Newcomb's DLSS to FSR3. Before we do this, it probably won't show up. Just to see if it muddies the quality. So we still don't have it. I have to go into settings. Take it on, yeah. Now it comes here. Accept. But it says it's off. I think we have to restart the game again. That's a lot of restarting to get frame generation. But maybe it's worth. Let's find out. You should also be mindful that the XeSS we see with AMD and NVIDIA is not the same XeSS you would get with an Intel card because it will use hardware and not software XeSS. So XeSS on Intel cards would be a lot better. Yeah. Now we have the frames. Do we have quality mode enabled though? It is DLSS quality. We have 30%. Still have no ray tracing. Everything looks fine. And now we have a lot more frames. Wish that fog wouldn't be here, but maybe if we take a stroll around town, it would just go away.
Is the knee reversal?
It still feels very responsive. What would happen if you used it? If you had 50 frames, then you would maybe take 10 to 15 frames to make the frame generation, and then you would have true frames would be much lower than you would have before. I don't think I would play with frame generation on. Not when I'm over 100, but maybe if I was below 100, I would. Let's try and go out and look at the grassy fields again. There's no noticeable difference here, I think. Looks much the same. Just more frames. Yeah, it looks really good. But I think if you removed the afterburner, I don't think you would have a noticeable difference here. By the matte chest, right? Yeah, I think. I don't think you would. I don't think you would notice the extra frames if you didn't have the FPS counter. So I think I would opt to not use the frame generation. Just turn it off. What we could do maybe was, how does FSR frame generation look? Yeah, and we have to restart the game. I think this will be the last thing we try now. Just to see how it works. I'm not too optimistic about this. Let's see how it goes.
Imagine how inconvenient travel was before I invented flu powder.
That's not too bad either. But we don't get as many frames as we did before. Still have newcoms on? Yeah, but that doesn't work here. Because it's DLSS, we have to use this and then we'll have to restart the game again. Or we would have to simply remove Upscaling. But I don't think I'm going to do that now because then we would have to verify files and it would take like 10-15 minutes before we were on again. Let's see how it is with the Upscaling. It's the same, I don't see much difference here. So, what we can do is, I did a lot of testing in performance, and I didn't find any benefits going down in quality. As you can see, it was only a few FPS difference from 102, and even the 1% lows are much the same. It was only really DLSS Ultra quality that had lower FPS, and it was not really noticeable, it was just 1 FPS less. But the native did have much lower, not much lower, it's like 5. But it would have the same quality at least. But I compared these and you can see it's very, very close. FSR 3.1.5 would have just below 100 FPS and DLSS would just have above. Average FPS was the same. 1% lows was almost all the same. So the only real difference was the image quality. And the image quality is much, much better with DLSS. So I think just going with the DLSS is worth it. It's worth it a lot, I think. Also, if you play Unreal 5 engine games, you would get rid of a lot of the shimmering in clouds and fog and grass and leaves. And I think what really saves the 6000 series is this DLSS inputs thing with Upscaling. I think this really makes it great cars, great value, and it will give it a lot more time before you consider buying a new one and upgrading. So I think with this I will take my leave and say goodbye. So take care of that. And if you have any comments, did I miss anything? Do you want to see anything I haven't shown here? Write it in the comments or join the Discord. Give a thumbs up if you want to see more of this, and even if you don't. So take care and see you around.